Happy Muk-jji-bba Day, everyone!
Happy Muk-jji-bba Day!
We realized only, 6 episodes in that we never introduced ourselves at the beginning of our podcast. So welcome, everyone. My name is Muk-jji.
My name is Brittany.
And I'm Judy.
Nice to meet you. I don't know why I just said that.
I guess if it's your first time listening and joining us, then welcome. And if you're a returner and a regular here, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Well, how's your week this week?
Low-key rough.
Oh.
It was quite a long week. The week went by quick, but each day felt very tiring. But there was one specific day. So I parked my car outside on the street, and at 7:45 a.m. they decided to have the sprinklers on, and so I had to walk through the sprinklers to get to my car. And this usually they're the sprinklers are shooting the water pretty at a lower angle, but this time they were shooting up so high, taller than me. And so I was like, oh my god, this is not good. So I sprinted across, but still managed to get really drenched. No. So for the rest of the day, my hair was kind of wet, and my pants were kind of wet, and I was like, it just didn't set the right tone.
Yeah.
And then after that, the week was kind of just not it in some ways. But yeah, I hit my pinky toe on the coffee table, so my toenails kind of
ouch,
semi-removed, semi-lifted. Yeah, so that was something. But no, it was the weekend, so that was good. What about you guys?
Oh, me? Okay. Same. My week felt rough. But each day also felt pretty long. Starting next week, it's kind of mandatory that we go in 3 days a week. So not super looking forward to the drives. I played pickleball last week for the first time. Wow. A couple friends invited me out. It was quite scary because I didn't know pickleball was just so popular. It was very intimidating when I first walked in, and the court was packed. It is the activity of Cyprus/La Palma residents. But I think definitely because I know how to play tennis, I was able to pick it up relatively quickly. But I was very sore the next day. I was very, very sore because I didn't really stretch, and I don't get a lot of exercise normally, so I was really going at it. I was trying my hardest, but it was really fun, and I can see how people make a lot of friends through activities like this. So I want to go often, but because I have to go in the office so much more often, I don't know if I can physically be able to, but we'll see. I will try. But yeah, that was pretty much my week. Okay.
Solid. Yeah, I think my week, it got progressively better. It started off really rough because I was just so tired, and Monday at work was really rough for whatever reason. This week I just had so much work to do, and there were deadlines, and it's the deadline is, let's say, Friday, but then I did everything I could do, but then I have to give it to the manager, and she has to look it over, review it, but she's taking forever. Yeah. And during that time, I have no work to do, so I'm just sitting there. But then she hands it to me at the end of the day, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to go home. And it's just, timing is just not efficient. Yeah. And it can get frustrating, but tis is life. But it got better throughout the week, I think. Yeah. Friday after work, I was like, it's Friday.
Yes.
I'm so happy. I was that sense of happiness it's unmatched.
It really is
actually unmatched.
Fridays when you're working versus Fridays when you're in school, completely different. Does not even compare. And I know we all end work at different times, but for me, I usually end at 6:30 during the week. Very unfortunate, but Fridays we end early at 5.
Nice.
So it's
Yeah.
hello weekend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
I guess speaking of school, happy back to school ish season for those of you guys in school.
Some have been in school for a while, but at least for UCLA, they just started. So we are partial to that.
Wait, I got a Facebook notification saying, oh, you had a life event like 4 years ago. And it was when I put in my Facebook bio that I started UCLA.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I was like, oh.
Wow.
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Dang.
Yeah. Wild.
Wow. But yeah, I guess we kind of wanted to talk about just like our last year of college, like how it was for us, and maybe like also touch on how postgrad has been, like the first and the second year, just because some of you guys are probably graduating, and yeah, maybe just need people to kind of not, I guess, necessarily like give you advice, but just talk about it and just, you know, kind of get you guys a little prepared. I don't know.
And for us also to kind of reflect on how, because it's been over a year now since we're out of postgrad, so we can't even say we're the freshest postgrads because there has been another class after us. So
Yes.
I keep forgetting that.
Yeah.
Every time it's like, oh yeah, like last year when we were in school.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
No, that wasn't last year.
I keep saying last year. I feel like I'm gonna keep saying last year for a while.
Yeah. I get very confused.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I guess because we feel like we've been out of school for a while. It kind of has, but it kind of hasn't at the same time. Would you guys say you guys miss school? Like, would you guys want to go back?
You know, if you asked me that a year ago, I would say no. I don't miss it at all. I don't miss studying. I don't miss just like, you know, just even the spontaneous just late nights. They were fun at the time, but I'm just like, oh, I'm over that. It's just I physically cannot. But then this, like right now, a part of me misses studying.
Oh,
Like, I don't know why. I think it's maybe I'm burnt out from work, and I'm just like, oh, I kind of miss just not having that sort of responsibility and more of, oh, I have my own schedule and I can like I can try hard, and then those outcomes or results can like I kind of have control over that. But at work it's not really like that, or at least for my work it's a lot of relational situations, and you can't really dictate your schedule. It's so a part of me does miss having things and I also miss learning. Like I just feel like my brain is not exercising enough these days. It's just getting like drained. That's it. It's like dying low key. It's just shriveling up. Actually, if it shrivels up, that means you're gaining more knowledge, because technically the more wrinkles.
She was a neuroscience major, everyone.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I do miss it. Yeah. What about you guys?
I think I do miss a lot of like the social aspect of it. I wouldn't say I was like the most extroverted, but I did like being surrounded by such different groups of people. I guess our campus ministry, it's like majority like Asians, which was nice because I felt like there was a group of people that I can relate to and that can relate to me, and we can kind of do life together. So that was fun. But in my music education major, it was like a completely different group. So, you know, kind of experiencing, you know, those type like different people, that was really fun and that was really interesting. And actually it's kind of like, I guess like high school, because we had a lot of the same classes because our major is so small. I would see them in every single class that I had.
Yeah.
So I think it was just like kind of fun doing classes with them and learning with them. And yeah, they were really nice classmates and they were very willing to help you out if you needed the help. So that was also really fun. And Yeah, so I think definitely the social aspect I do miss a lot. And I do kind of miss learning about music. Yeah, I feel like I haven't really been doing a lot of music related stuff recently, but that's like a big hobby that I have. So it does kind of make me sad that I'm not touching on that part of my life. Yes, I do miss that part. But yeah, I feel like college, just like you said, also a little less responsibility. I think I do miss that part. And there's just like more room for you to, I guess, make mistakes in some ways and like to be forgiven more, versus now we have to be a little bit more careful about that. There's less grace, I feel like, that is shown to adults. So yeah, I do kind of miss it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I echo what everyone said. I feel like last year when we just graduated and it was the summer break right before I started working and I literally had nothing to do. You know, I was chilling. I was like, oh, fantastic. I never want to go back. But now I do miss it because we thought we were busy and we thought we had a lot on our plates in college, but compared to work and just trying to survive almost day by day, it feels a lot less, like you said, of a responsibility and less pressure because it's not like, you know, our livelihoods are on the line. It's, you can take a test and you can, you know, not get a good grade, but there's also the final that you can redeem yourself for it, or like an assignment that you can try and redeem yourself with. But I feel like there are less chances in the real, quote unquote, real world. And my mom would always say, oh, being a student is the best. Being a student is the best.
Yeah.
And she was right. Being a student, it really is the best. I mean, there are definitely pros to postgrad life, but I think just kind of trying to reflect back, it's like, oh, college was really nice because I think I really felt this towards the end of senior year. Like the title of student just feels really safe and very protective, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But now you're like an entry level, whatever position you are, and it's you're trying to build yourself up, but at the same time you feel so lost and you feel like you don't know anything, and but you're trying to learn, but nothing's really absorbing. I don't know.
I feel that.
It's really hard. I feel like it's also, now that I've been working at this place for over a year now, it's like people do have certain expectations, but also I'm still doing like the grunt work, so it's that weird spot as well where it's like I kind of know things, but I also don't know a lot of things.
Right.
It's kind of, it's like a very challenging, it's different. It's a different challenge the second year of postgrad versus like first year of postgrad versus senior year.
Yeah, very different. Like you would think it's after you graduate college, it's more or less steady and consistent, but wow, like I feel like it's not talked about enough, the transition from first year postgrad to second year postgrad. I think that's harder than college to first year postgrad. It's rough.
Because I feel like right after you're done with college, I'm just like, oh, like baby, you're so new. But now it's like, oh, so you've done this for a year now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the tone is a little different.
Yeah. It's that the grace that you mentioned, like right after college, you kind of, you know, you're a kid. Oh, like it's okay if you still make mistakes. That's fine. Like you're very new to this. But now I think we're at that stage where we're not seasoned enough to really be comfortable in our career and just position, but at the same time, we're not completely new to it.
Exactly.
So yeah, so it's just a very awkward spot, and I think that's where a lot of the imposter syndrome comes into play as well. It's just everything is just so bad. A lot of negativity, or at least for me.
For me too.
Yeah.
I guess it is a little bit different for me because first year of postgrad, the first couple of months of postgrad, I had a part-time job at a dermatology office because I was kind of pre-PA. But yeah, I did end up doing a UX UI boot camp for 6 months after that. So I kind of like switched my trajectory and everything. So I feel like I do have a little bit less of that like kind of burnout from my job. I just like recently started. It's been 1 full month now. I'm entering my 2nd month at work. So it does feel a little bit different. I think I feel more stable right now. Yeah, it's definitely like I still have so much to figure out and everything. Not everything feels stable. Definitely not. But I think I feel a little bit more stable than I did last year. Just because last year was a lot of, I guess, confusion on and like just so much uncertainty as to like what job I wanted to have, like what I wanted to be. And even within like UX UI design, there's so many different things you can do. There's like UX writing, you can focus on UI, like user interface, or you can focus more on the user experience. And I think even within those 6 months, like trying to figure that out, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know. I think I know, but I don't know. So yeah, it was a lot of like definitely wrestling during that time too. But I think now that I kind of have a job and I'm somewhat settled in now, it feels a little more stable. So I haven't reached that burnout just yet, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting for me because the first year I had one job and then I just transitioned and it's been like 2 months, a little over 2 months. But I don't think I was burnt out at my last job. But this job, I'm just like, wow, it's rough. Like having a career and just like trying to be established in whatever career you're trying to pursue. And I think it's even more rough when you're not completely sure because at least when you're sure about what direction you want to go into, it's like, oh, at least you have like that goal. And even if it's rough getting there, you have that to look forward to. But if you're like just lost and just trying things out, then it's like you have nothing to really hold on to.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's been rough. But it was like similar last year, but I think the job was just so lax compared to this one that I didn't ever feel burnt out. But yeah, and I was just having fun with postgrad life, just having a lot of free time and yeah.
For sure. Guys, the silence is so loud. I hear it.
Guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like can't think today.
Yeah.
I guess in terms of postgrad life besides work, how has that been for you guys? And is it different from like the first year of postgrad and right now? Or would you say it's more or less the same?
I think this is a bad answer, but it's a little of both in the sense where it's like, I think we're really lucky that we stayed, close by. And I think I really am so grateful that we committed to, before we started the podcast and everything, just committed to meeting every month. I feel like a lot of people take friendships not for granted, but it's just like, oh, like if it happens, it'll happen, like if for free. But we're like, no, we're going to make time for each other at least once a month. And so I think that really helped sustain me throughout the first year because like we have each other. And then also I think I reconnected with people I didn't really think I would, like old high school friends that I wasn't necessarily close to in high school, but I just reached out to them because I would run into them in the neighborhood. And that has been really important relationships in this season of my life right now. So it's also nice to have friends that are closer in proximity because they moved back home too. So I'm able to see those friends as well. But nowadays, I think I love spending time with my friends, but also it's like I live at home. So now I'm trying to spend more time with my parents too. So I think that's one thing that's a little bit different. I I recently started playing card games with them and like teaching them games. And then my parent or my dad wants to play Kostop. It's just like a Korean like card game with my mom and me. And so they introduced me to the rules yesterday. So we spent some time like playing that. Because I feel like it's so easy to just be in my room and like watch YouTube, but I make a conscious effort to, even if I watch YouTube, I'll watch it on the couch next to them. Yeah, so I think that's one way. And it's really what you put into that you get out, you know? So I am guilty of this sometimes where I just kind of like sit and hope and wait for someone to reach out to me first. But it's also like, if I don't make an action, then nothing might ever happen. So I'll try to give, you know, granted I have energy or like capacity for it, I'll like try to do something on the weekends or get out, because just only being at home isn't necessarily the best for me, at least. So that's kind of been how I've tried to fill my time outside of work.
Yeah, I think outside of work, last year I think I really focused on myself, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I think the first year of postgrad for me was really rough. So I think I was really thankful that we committed to meeting once a month, because I think if it wasn't for that, then I really wouldn't have left the house as often. But yeah, honestly, postgrad can be a very lonely journey, I feel like. You don't have the same community that you did in college or like your previous years of school. You really have to make an effort to like meet up with the people and that you want to meet up with. So I just but anyways, where was I going with it? I lost my train.
You're doing great.
Anyways, but I feel like it was just good to like meet up with like you guys, but I did spend a lot of time like at home by myself, and I think the biggest thing I was trying to do was to like be comfortable in my own presence, just by myself. I think I grew very introverted in college, or not very, but like I grew introverted in college, and I thought I was okay kind of just being by myself and doing things alone. But I think my first year of postgrad was like really putting that to the test, just like being okay with just myself. That's like something I kind of, did. I really focused on myself. But I feel like this time around, like the second year of postgrad, is a little bit different. I think I'm trying to be more social, and like I'm trying to invest in more people if I can. And so I guess outside of work, it's okay. It's it's just life. I feel like right now I'm just going with the flow. So what about you, Brittany?
I think for me, I think I was really blessed just to have like friends like you guys who, like you said, like we made like actionable items. Actionable
You're in a meeting right now.
Just like, we are meeting once a month at least. And I feel like we met more often because, let's say, if Lena or Eunice were in town, then we would meet again. And then just like on birthdays too, stuff like that. So that was like one designated hangout that I would have at least once a month. And then I think around me, I have a lot of older people who have been in this stage for a longer time than we have. And I feel like because of that and just the nature of who they are, just they're very extroverted. So I think I found myself just like people reaching out to me first and being like, oh, are you free? And I would always say yes, like, oh yeah, I'm down, because I was free. And because of that, I was able to just go out a lot and spend time with like meeting new people as well. which has been fun. And I think now, like this year, it's like now I feel like I need time for myself. And sometimes I get really sad when my week is just so busy that I'm just like, oh, I want just time for myself. But I can't, for some reason, I just can't say no to things, which is bad. Like that, you need to have that boundary.
Right.
But I think I'm still trying to figure that out. And yeah, I think I get FOMO. Like that's the biggest thing. I just like, oh, like what if, let's say, what if I go to this thing and I meet someone and like that person is like it's like a new like connection in my life that I wouldn't be able to gain unless I go. Like I just think very far ahead into the future with these things. And so I think subconsciously I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll say yes to anything and everything. But there's a time where you just have to say no if you're tired, like physically tired, because I am physically tired. Yeah. But that balance is tough.
Yeah. I feel like because we're only working during the week, I don't know if you guys feel this too, but it's almost like, oh my goodness, I have to have X amount of social activities to make it feel like this week was valid, like this week was fruitful. But then it's like, oh, but I'm so tired, and I feel like I never really process anything during the week. It's just kind of going. Yeah. And then suddenly it's like the next month. And then suddenly it's the next year. And it's like, oh my gosh, who am I? What have I done?
Who am I? Where am I?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, I don't know. That's just kind of, I feel like you're just going and going. There's no brake pedal. That's kind of how
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I did feel that way until there was a time in my life, like a few months ago, where I just had a lot of free time to myself just because just mentally I just wanted to be by myself. And I just had, like, physically I just had so much time on my hands. And during that time, it did feel like my life was on pause. And at the time, it didn't feel good because I was just going through it. But looking back, I'm like, oh, that was actually a pretty valuable time just because I've never reflected on my life to that extent before then. And even now, like, I don't have time to. So, yeah. So if you're going through stuff, it'll get better. And just try to think of that time as a time where you're, like, literally growing. And just, like, growing pains, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's called postgrad depression for a reason. Postgrad depressy. I don't know why. Sorry. Postgrad depressy.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Like, it's not unemployed, it's funemployed.
Sadness to make it fun.
Yeah. Postgrad depressy. I know it sounds really scary. And honestly, I think in the moment it really is. And I think if you end up going through it and you feel those emotions, I think it's definitely something not to just like suppress or ignore. I feel like that could make it worse in some ways. But yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity to grow and learn, especially about yourself and the type of person that you are, and you know what you kind of need, especially in that season. So yeah, I think it's good to just sometimes just like make time to like sit and reflect. And
Sorry. What happened? I was about to sneeze, but it like went away when I think Judy saw me. It was terrible timing. She's a corner. I was trying to be very inconspicuous, but clearly.
I think it was like the timing to like look at somebody, and then I looked, I was like, oh no.
Sorry, apologies.
That's okay. But yeah, just yes, if you're in this position, like it's definitely hard, and yeah, it's not an easy journey, but I think it's a very, very great opportunity to take the time to like sit down with yourself and see how you're feeling, and then just like to learn. So like please do take that opportunity. I think it'll help you in for like the next couple of years, at least for like your early 20s. So yeah, don't be scared of it. But yeah.
I think like literally you have the title of being a student like basically your whole life up until this point when you graduate college, unless you go to grad school. But I think that you're just so comfortable in that title and that's your identity, but you lose that in a matter of a day. Like, and yeah, that's like pretty significant of a change, but everyone goes through it. But I don't think that diminishes the fact that it's a significant change. But yeah, it was interesting. This is like kind of off topic. No, it's on topic, but when I went to New York back in May, I had like dinner with just people there, and we talked about, like if we were strangers, what job do you think, like just based on how you speak and like just appear, like what job do you think would you guess you would have? And then I was so like disappointed because everyone was like, oh, for Brittany, you look like a student. And I'm just like, like I was so offended at the time, but I'm just like, that's actually kind of interesting. And I was like, maybe, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it did make me think. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Did they explain like why they said you would think you're a student?
No, they did not elaborate. But yeah.
That's an interesting question. I want to ask other people about strangers.
How would you like if we yeah, maybe ask each other that question?
I don't know. It's kind of hard because I know you.
Wait, yeah, it is hard.
So I can't really think of something new. I feel like for Judy, because she accessorizes so well and like does her nails, I feel like she would work if I didn't know her and I would have just seen, like her fit today.
Oh, please.
What was that? Oh my gosh. Ooh.
Oh, really feeling yourself.
Yeah, I think I would say something in the fashion industry, like magazine.
Wow.
Like editorial.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like marketing. Yeah. Or
I
like-
did want to go into marketing at one point. But, yeah.
And for you, I can see teacher.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah, like
You're very well spoken, and you have that like teacher tone.
you do. Yeah.
Okay, kids.
Maybe it's all the years of tutoring.
Maybe. Like
True.
I know a good handful of teachers around me, and out of all of them, you beat them in terms of just like having that like teacher-esque.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
I feel like she gives like late elementary school teacher
Yeah.
vibes.
Oh.
Not early, not middle or high school,
No.
late elementary.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah, like 4th or 5th grade.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
What about Brittany?
Like a ceramic store owner or something, like
Wait.
like
Really?
Yeah.
because I feel like it's very select people who go to those, so it's not like it's a relatively niche item, and so it's like the people who go there with the specific intention go there, and you are knowledgeable about the items that you hold and you sell, and so you can walk people through it and you like chit chat with your regulars, because I feel like only regulars would go to those kinds of things.
True.
Yeah, and it's like a little humble little storefront,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really pretty low key but very personalized with your touch.
I
can
also
see that.
feel like her calm energy.
Exactly.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that
yeah.
and like your tone of voice and everything. Like you do
Yeah.
something very like something that's like doesn't require a lot of like rush and
Yeah,
it's like
exactly. Like ceramics takes time, and it's very like weighty, you know, because it's like a solid item. And my dad always says, like, he listens to our podcast, and so he's every episode he'll always be like, Bernie's voice is so like 무게감, like weighty, and so it's
interesting.
yeah.
Huh. You know, these days, not even these days, like I always wanted my own business, like a not like a startup business, more like like my little shop. Yeah, but it requires a lot of money, and it can fail very miserably. So yeah, maybe when I have a lot of money. Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
You know how in college we classified, it was very easy to keep track of time. Oh, it's week 2. Oh, it's midterm season. Oh, it's final season. Oh, it's spring quarter, you know? Do you guys have like a metric of timekeeping now that we're out of that quote unquote academic calendar like quarter system?
Ooh, I don't think I did the first year. I just kind of went with the flow. But starting like right when the clock hit like the 1 year mark, all of a sudden there are like annual events that if you stay within the same community or group of people, let's say like birthdays or like church events, stuff like that, I'm just like, oh wow, has that been a year? Like, oh, exactly a year ago I was doing this here. Like that's how I think these days. And it started becoming like that like a couple of months ago. And I think from this point going forward, it's going to be like that, like a yearly, oh, it's been a year. It's been 3 years, 10 years, etc.
Yeah.
True. I think for me, it's been seasons, low key. Yeah, because our company started using like a new software recently, and the calendar doesn't include like any of the holidays, so I have to kind of like put it in myself. And so I was like looking at all the dates, and I was like Googling it, and I looked up like first day of fall, and it was like what, last week? It was the 23rd. Yeah. So and then I was looking up like, oh, like first day of winter and like all of that. So I feel like now it's kind of just by like how the seasons are changing. And I feel like so many, like a lot of my coworkers are much older than I am, so they kind of have been talking about the weather a lot and you know how it's been in California like 10 years ago versus like now. So yeah, I kind of feel like I've been associating everything with like weather.
Wait, that's so true. I feel like like a huge bulk of just everyday conversations is about weather.
It really Wait, like no,
60% of what I talk about these days.
but I don't know what else to talk about for small talk.
But there's like, it's kind of fun. It's like,
the weather.
Why is it like, why is it cloudy? Like, weather is bipolar. Why?
Yeah, and then like next week it's hitting like the 80s or something. Yeah. So they're like, oh my god, it's so gloomy and that's gonna be so hot. Like, why?
It's global warming.
Yeah. So
so true. Glad it's across the board. Weather is a common topic.
Yes.
If anyone has other topics that they talk about, please let us know so we can seem well versed with our coworkers.
Yes.
I think for me, I think because I'm in accounting, so a lot of it is like by quarter. So like, oh my gosh, it's already Q4, and now that I have busy season, it's like, oh my god, busy season's coming up. Like, how is that even possible? So, I think for me, it's like by the quarters. Also, because we have quarterly deadlines. Like all companies have quarterly deadlines, and we kind of follow alongside that as well. And so, yeah, and like interim testing. So like 9:30, like, you know, end of Q3, beginning of Q4. It's when it starts to get busy, and so. Yeah, I think it's a little bit scary when you're approaching the end of the year because it's like, oh, yay, holidays, how fun. But then it's it's
like the calm before the storm.
It's literally the calm before the storm, and it's now that I've done it once, I know what's coming, but it might be worse, and so I think I'm starting to feel a bit anxious. So I think that's how I'm classifying the time. Yeah.
You got this.
Thank you.
Would you guys say that, do you feel different from when you just graduated or like senior year of college? And I guess another question to follow up with that is, do you think you've aged, like physically or mentally, both, you know?
Definitely, like most definitely. Yeah. I think, you know how when we were freshmen and upperclassmen would know that we were freshmen, and we would always ask, oh my gosh, how do you know? And they would reply with, your eyes are so bright. I really, I know this might sound really obnoxious because it's like we're still so young, but 1 year of in Korean, like 사회생활, just like social, you know, being at work, and it's almost like a different persona, you know, what you bring to work really drains you, I feel like. And I think especially for me, because the drive, especially days when I go into the office, I realize I have like almost 12-hour days because I get to the office by like 7:30, and no one else really knows I'm there starting that early, and I can't just like get up and leave because I have to, you know, Muk-jji-bba. So I leave at like 6:37, and so I'm like I'm absolutely drained by the time I go home. And so yeah, I think physically I definitely have less energy. And I think one nice thing though is that I do feel like I've quote unquote matured. Like I kind of know what I can do, like what I'm capable of, or like starting to learn like, oh, maybe this is something I'm good at, or like this is something I can become good at. Building relationships at work too, like, oh, I can say hi to these many people, or like, oh yeah, I enjoy talking to that person at work even if I'm not on the team with them. Things like that, that's been enjoyable. But yeah, I think just reality in life is a lot different than when you're in school, because it's easy to fantasize, and especially with a lot of what's in my life, people romanticize. And I really respect people who are able to like put their life on display and like record their lives and like romanticize it. And but the reality is the day-to-day grind is hard, but I think when you look at it in totality, you can see that you've grown, you know, like it's hard to see in the day to day, but if we kind of have metrics like, oh, where are we a year later? You can see like a progression. So I think that's been nice.
Wait, the question was, how
Do you think you've changed? Yeah.
I do have to say, I'm a little less depressy than last year. I love that. I think I've kind of got, because like the first year was like such a low for me. I feel like anything up from there is like better. But yeah, I think I just feel, again, like I said before, just a little bit more stable than last year. Things feel a little less uncertain. And yeah, I think I'm just like starting to be like, okay, like, you know, whatever happens, but who knows where I'm going to be in like a month or two. Maybe it's going to change again. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel like I'm different than last year. What was the second half?
Do you think you've aged?
In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. In the ways I've aged, I don't really like being out really late at night anymore. Yeah, I don't know if it's because like the media makes the world seem so scary, or if it's genuinely because like I'm just so tired. I feel like it's kind of a mix of both, but yeah, it's like not as exciting to be out late.
No, yeah, and it's like it's so hard the next morning.
Yeah.
So I feel that.
I think I feel that a lot more because like you have to wake up for work, and when your body's like in that 긴장한 like stage overnight, it just feels like you're not getting enough rest either, and then you kind of crash over the weekend, and I think I really don't like that. So yeah, in that way I do feel like I've aged, but I guess like mentally and emotionally I still feel kind of immature in some ways. I think this is something I realized a lot last year in my first year of postgrad, but I've just realized how much I don't know and that there's so much more that I can learn. So yeah, and I thought it would get a little bit better where I feel a little bit more like secure in that sense. But yeah, I feel like I still have so much to learn and I still don't know a lot. So I feel like, yeah, once again, emotionally and mentally and yeah, all of that, I still feel very young. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this second year of postgrad, I'm the opposite. I feel a little more depressy. I'm not exactly sure why, or there are a lot of reasons why, but I don't think it's because of one particular reason. It's just a culmination of everything.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, I feel less stable this year than I was last year.
Yeah.
And I'm still figuring out why. I'm like trying to pinpoint the root cause. But yeah, and I think I'm realizing that I have so many different interests, and in my head, I feel like an octopus. I'm like trying to grab all of these things, all of these desires, but I physically can't do all of them. And there's a part of me where I'm like, oh, I should just focus on one thing so that I master that, and then I can move on to the next thing. But I'm like a little kapis, so mommy kapis. So I'm just like trying to do everything, and because of that, you know, like in Harry Potter, the Dementors, they like suck out. That's literally how I feel. I feel like I'm just getting, like, my soul is just getting sucked out. And because of that, I feel physically aged as well. I feel like my eyesight is getting worse. Which is so bad. I have 20/20 vision, but I don't think I do anymore.
Dang.
Yeah, I just find myself, like, squinting. And also, I get headaches now.
Wait,
I
me
never used to
too.
get headaches.
Huh? Really?
Yeah, like I never got headaches. Wow. Yeah, but these days, I like noticeably can tell when I do have one.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, oh shoot.
Wait, do you guys
Gosh.
get this too? There are some days where my neck, this area hurts so much, and it's like electric volts are running down like all day, and I can't even like move it side to side, and it's like actually so painful, and it lasts like the whole day. And I don't know if it's definitely my posture, but I'm just like, wow, is work killing us? Like,
Yeah, and like your wrists too.
yeah,
They hurt.
it's
Yeah.
so
Sometimes when I'm just working, it feels fine at one moment, but then all of a sudden you just get like the shot of pain.
yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm like,
it's so
fudge.
scary.
Yeah.
Eugen, because she's an OT, so she said the ergonomically friendly way is that you're actually supposed to have your keyboard down here, so that it's supposed to be low and that's more comfortable. But like no desks are designed like that, so it kind of sucks.
Is that why some desks
have the yeah? That's why. Yeah.
that makes sense?
Yeah, but I see what she means, because I like just try to put it on my lap. Like when I work from home, I put my keyboard on my lap. It does help, because you're just like this instead of like this, because this naturally raises up your shoulders, which is what causes cramps here. If you're like this, you're just in a more relaxed position.
I used to be like, when older people were talking about posture and just like ergonomics, like they're so obsessed with ergonomics, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you kind of have to be.
Yeah, with the whole aging thing, I'm like starting to think way out into the future. I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to invest in myself now so that I don't suffer in the future. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, like what I'm looking into what supplements I should be taking. Like,
Yeah.
should I buy more things?
Yeah.
And especially with diet too, like what I eat too.
yeah.
I'm definitely trying to cut down on sugar. I mean, not successful,
I
but
should be doing that too.
I'm like trying. And when we're ordering food from lunch too, wait, what did I say? When we're ordering, when we're ordering food, sorry, I like brain fart. When we're ordering food for lunch at the office, I'm trying to think like, okay, what is the somewhat healthiest option on the menu?
Good for you.
Yeah, because it sucks to feel so heavy and groggy at work.
That's
Like
true.
you cannot fall asleep at work, you know?
Yeah.
And also I'm sitting all day, so it just sits in my stomach. And so yeah, little stuff like that. And like if I'm working from home, like what's like an easy but healthy thing to eat? Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. These things didn't even cross my mind a couple of years ago, but yeah. Do you guys like feel like your brain gets foggy often?
100%.
Yeah. My brain, I think out of the 7 days of the week, I would say like 6 days. I just feel like
They're foggy or it's not foggy?
they're foggy.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say 60s that are not foggy is
No,
fantastic. Like,
no. Only one.
Yeah.
If I get lucky, I think one day of the week I feel like alert
Splurged.
and just like I'm ready to take on the day. But no, yeah.
I think I felt that way since college, though.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Now that you say that,
Like, yeah. There has
just the whole life is like,
and then I'm just like, I didn't feel that way in high school too.
preschool too.
like I don't think I've really had a day where I felt so alert and awake. Yeah.
You're so right.
No, actually though, and I genuinely wonder, like, does anyone ever wake up feeling refreshed? Because I don't.
No, I never understood what people meant by that.
Yeah.
Because I haven't felt that in the
Yeah.
past like 10 years
Oh,
of
wow.
20 years of my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do, like some Saturdays when I have like nothing to do and I wake up, I feel like, wow, like I feel so refreshed. But then
Wow.
like an hour into the day, I'm just like, I crash. I'm like, never mind.
You used it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Literally, when I wake up, especially on office days, because I wake up earlier than usual, the first thing I say and think is, hey, it's so bad, but
Yeah. Yeah, in the morning when I wake up, I feel like my internal monologue is just like,
yeah, no, it's exactly what it is.
That kind of reminds me. I feel like I've said this, like I've brought it up before, but some people, when they say their head is empty, like some people it's like literal, like their head is empty. I'm not like that, but these days I wish I was built like that because it's just so chaotic in here. Yeah, like please stop thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, and on drives home, sometimes I just need nothing. Like, I just drive in silence. People at work, when I tell people at work, they think I'm really weird because I drive in silence, and especially because they know I have a longer drive. But I don't know, sometimes I'm surrounded by noise, and here is noisy enough, so I just zone out.
Yeah.
And it is helpful sometimes to just be in silence.
Yeah.
Have you guys cried in the morning while driving to work?
Not in the morning.
Not
no.
yet.
Have you?
Yeah. But I kind of did it on purpose.
Oh, like you force yourself to
Yeah,
cry?
because I was listening to a podcast and there's such thing as crying constipation where like
Yeah.
you just
yeah.
it's really unhealthy for you.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, like maybe if I cry in the morning, I'll feel better later on in the day. I think it kind of helped in a weird way. I think it's better than crying at night. Cause
that's true.
Yeah.
Dang. I never thought about that.
yeah, like, but you have to measure it. Like, you can't cry too much.
Well,
then
that's
you're just
true.
like actually tired
Yeah.
from crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just like turned on like a song that had very sad, relatable lyrics. I was like, I was like, okay, next song.
Oh.
And then I like play like a hyped up song
Oh.
that gets me in a hyped up mood. But then,
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like I've experienced crying constipation my first year of postgrad. I think there were a couple of moments where like I would just like lie in my bed and stare at the ceiling, and there's like so many different thoughts and emotions going on that I don't know which one to feel. And then it's like very just like numb. I just feel really numb to all my feelings. So yeah, there's usually like a couple of days or like weeks where that's kind of like consistent. And then there's like maybe like one day where a little bit comes out. Yeah, so it's like kind of like that. But yeah.
How do you think you managed to get out of that funk, or were there any like tangible things you did that helped?
I think honestly it was a lot of just accepting that I'm in a funk. I think for myself, I'm the type to try and suppress a lot of my feelings, especially when they're too difficult to face. And so, yeah, it was just taking a step in kind of realizing that, yeah, just like, oh, this is a really hard time for me. And these feelings of like anxiety and uncertainty are valid to feel, especially in this season. And so I think that really helped. And I think also being able to talk about it with others was kind of, yeah, was also really good for me. Like Brittany and Edgy, like, you know, we're kind of in like, we're the same age and somewhat in kind of the same life stage. Not really, I guess, because like they were working already and I wasn't. But yeah, even like being able to like talk about it with them, that was kind of nice. Yeah, and I had a cell group at church, and that cell was really good because we had a lot of girls around our age and some older. So I think the kind of being able to walk with people who understand, that was really, really good for me. Yeah, so I think there were a couple of things that helped, but I think the biggest thing for me was to just admit and realize that this stage in life is like, it's just not easy, and that I'm gonna have to go through it and face my emotions, or else it's just not gonna get better from here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really not easy, but I think a lot of people make it seem easy, but I would like to think that everyone goes through this.
Yeah.
And I think everyone does. Yeah.
Well, you know, as we head into our second year of postgrad life, is there anything you guys are excited for, hope to achieve, looking forward to?
I think, I don't know if this will happen, but I'm looking forward to just meeting new people. Like, I feel like I'm in my, I wouldn't say I'm extroverted, but I am very open to, I like look forward to meeting new people. I think before I was very intimidated and scared, and I kind of veered away from those situations. But these days I'm like, if an opportunity presents itself, it's like, oh, hey, you want to get like coffee? Like literally earlier today, you're like, oh, well, I want to get coffee with like these, like this new person. I was like, yo, like I'm down. And I think it's a time where a lot of people around our age are experiencing this like funk. And I think just being there for each other is just that presence itself is very valuable. And I think I kind of want to be that presence to other people as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if I'll meet a lot of new people, but yeah. I think that's what I am looking forward to.
I guess, similarly to Brittany, I feel the same way. I still kind of, even at like church or other social settings, I will just like, I'd rather like sit alone and just kind of like do my own thing and kind of stay in my shell. But I am looking forward to being a little bit more social, like meeting new people, kind of putting myself out there more. I think it's just good to experience different types of people. So I kind of want to do that more and just, I guess, build community, be intentional with my community and like the friends around me. That's like one thing. And another thing, I think as cheesy as this sounds and as like broad as it is, I think just growing more and becoming a little bit more mature. I think sometimes like this feeling of like not knowing a lot is like good in a lot of ways, and I think it's freeing too. But I think I realized that I do want to be someone who like has wisdom and can just, I guess like Brittany, like be that person for like other people and just, so I think just to gain more knowledge and wisdom, whether that's like on life or other things, I think that's something I kind of want to achieve.
I think for me, one thing I want to achieve is to be better at work, like in terms of, learning more and doing more things, because at my level, I'll start to teach the people who are under me, but what do I have to tell them? I don't know. But when I started last year, the people who were right above me, like 1 year above me, were really good at teaching me things, and they seemed like they knew what they were doing. And so now I'm kind of in that spot, and I'm a little bit scared, to be honest, but I hope that, I'll just continue to learn and continue to be open-minded at work and just like, be faithful and good at my work. I feel like that's my number one goal, kind of. And now that I'm done studying, my mom keeps asking me like, you need to do something with your free time, like you should pick up a new hobby. So I do want to pick up a new hobby. I think I'm kind of cheap and I'm like, I don't want to spend money on anything, but like it's worth it to spend money on something I want to learn, so I want to find something that I want to learn and do. So that's something.
It's time to get your yoga teaching. You've been talking about that since last year.
Guys, I don't know if that's feasible, but that is something I do want to look into. So I guess kind of context, I really enjoy stretching in my free time, and I'm pretty flexible, and stretching is something that I feel like is really important for just overall well-being. So even at work during busy season, I was kind of known as the stretcher. Like I led my team in stretches every night, and they really enjoyed it. And other teams saw us stretching and they wanted to join. So I remember I like randomly joined one team, or like I was on one team for like a day, and they were like, oh, what other client have you been on? And I was like, oh, I was on this client. And then the person on that team was like, oh, were you there for the stretching? And I was like, that was me. And he was like, oh. So, that was like my little moment of fame. But I think it would be really cool to, I don't know, do that on a more regular basis. So I considered like, oh, what if I learn how to do it more quote unquote professionally? But yeah, we'll see. That might have to be tabled. But yeah, I kind of want to learn like martial arts, like jujitsu. I wanna be able to fight.
Useful.
Yeah, exactly. And I wanna be physically strong because I'm very, very weak. But I don't know. That seems very cathartic, almost, to being able to.
True.
Yeah. So that's something. But then outside of that, I want to also just like continue growing in my relationships and like deepening friendships, and also like try like not being afraid to reach out to other people too, especially at like church. I feel like there are just so many people, but but also not learning how to not spread myself too thin. I think that's also very challenging but very important. Those are I think I'd say those are what I hope to accomplish the second year of postgrad.
Solid.
Maybe we can check in like 6 months, see how we're doing with these.
Yeah.
That's a good metric.
Metric.
Sorry, triggering word.
Please.
Sorry guys.
Well, I think that wraps up today's episode. Please give us a follow on all socials: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we release new episodes every Wednesday, so you can look forward to that.
Yep.
And yeah, have a great rest of your weeks.
Yes. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.